Continue to follow breaking news out of the NFL. Malik Willis is going to sign with the Miami Dolphins. That's the latest from our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. Going to take over for Tua Tagovailoa with the Fins, cutting veteran quarterback this morning. It's the first major move for new Dolphins GM John Eric Sullivan, who came to Miami this offseason after more than 2 decades in Green Bay. Let's bring in JJ. Money-wise, what more can you tell us about what took place here?
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit more than $20 million per year. It was always going to be a little bit north of what Justin Fields signed for with the New York Jets last year. You may recall, we've talked about this a little bit, Justin Fields and Malik Willis share an agent. It obviously has not worked out for Justin Fields, and the New York Jets are going to part ways. It will ultimately be a 1-year, $30 million experiment there. But Malik Willis, who didn't have that many starts, but the starts that he did have, he made the absolute most of. Remember, drafted by the Tennessee Titans, seemingly fell insofar as quarterbacks could fall in a draft, and it didn't work out in Tennessee. He goes to the Packers, and life is breathed into him there by Matt LaFleur and that staff. And so we're going to find out if this was LaFleur and Green Bay and the system, or if it was truly Malik Willis who just needed the right circumstances, the right system to really allow his talents to flourish, to be the guy that we remember seeing at the Liberty Pro Day, right, several years ago. So Malik Willis going to Miami. Quinn Ewers still the backup. They'll compete, but obviously QB1 reps going to Malik Willis.
All right, Malik Willis going from Lambeau to Hard Rock. What about Isiah Likely, JJ?
Yeah, it's looking like a multi-year deal for Isiah Likely with the New York Giants. So the Baltimore Ravens, they were interested in re-signing Likely, and then they pivoted to Mark Andrews on a very team-friendly contract for the aging tight end. And so it became very clear toward the end of the season that it was unlikely that Likely would return to the Baltimore Ravens. And then John Harbaugh goes to New York. Anytime that a new coach who just came from somewhere goes elsewhere, usually likes to bring a lot of the guys that he knows. And so Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, now gets a new toy in that offense. Jackson Dart gets another weapon. They are hopeful that Malik Neighbors will be able to be fully healthy. They have Devin Singletary returning. We'll see if the Giants are in the mix for another running back here in the coming hours, but all signs point to Isiah Likely joining the New York Giants.
All right, JJ, certainly appreciate it. We anticipate more updates from you, of course, as we hit a new hour of CBS Sports HQ. And with that, back here, let's reset the table for those that have been with us. Thank you. For those just joining us, welcome. I'm Tommy Tran, Ben DiNucci, Logan Ryan, Kyle Long, and Pete Prisco. Couple of the moves that JJ had just talked about, and Kyle, I'll give you first word of Malik Willis, backup quarterback, popped behind Jordan Love, and now getting a new situation with an old face there in Miami.
Well, the number is the number, okay? He didn't choose that. His agent didn't choose it. It's just kind of what it is in the National Football League. You got to pay these guys $20+ million to play that position. That being said, he's getting more than $1 million over the next couple of years for each pass that he's thrown, which is insane to me. Matt LaFleur, fantastic coach in Green Bay, able to win some football games with Malik Willis, and obviously he's an unfinished ball of clay. We got to find out what is at the inside of this ball of clay. Malik Willis has the physical tools, though.
I look at the quarterback dominoes starting to fall. Clearly, you see all the Green Bay contingency coming to Miami. They cut Tua earlier today, $99 million dead cap, the biggest amount of dead salary cap we've ever had in this sport, right? To move on from Tua, bring something fresh in, bring in Malik Willis, a guy that they're both familiar with, the head coach, Jeff Hafley, and the GM there in Green Bay. Now, you have to run a system around Malik Willis. I don't think that he's your traditional drop-back passer, can make every single throw left or right. I think you have to build something around the running game with him, use his legs, be creative. So I'll see how they do that. But I also don't know if this deal screams he's our future quarterback for the next 5 years. Obviously, it's a 3-year deal. The money's the money, but quarterbacks are getting paid $60 million to play his position, not just $20, right, usually in free agency or top quarterback. So this is a prove-it deal, similar to Justin Fields. You saw JJ say that the same agent as Justin Fields. So Malik Willis has a 1-year deal to prove this right here. Good for him because he took the opportunity that is given with a fresh start there in Miami.
What do you think, Ben?
You hit the nail on the head with that word right there, opportunity. And I think regardless of what he's getting paid, how many games he's played, this is the thing that's so cool about the NFL. His journey from Auburn to Liberty to Tennessee to Green Bay, he got an opportunity. He made the most of it, played well in last year in Green Bay. He's getting paid to go play in Miami, have a chance to compete. based off of potential, hey, what have you done for us, lately? I think this is awesome for Malik Willis. I've got to train with him a couple times in college, get to know the person, get to know the player a little bit. So awesome opportunity for him, and that's why you got to love the NFL a little bit.
Just to follow up on that, what do you think he's feeling right now, given an opportunity to shine here in South Florida?
Well, first things first, if I know Malik at all, he's probably at the field right now working out, not worrying about any of this. He probably signed his name and said, let's get back to work. But this is, for him, this is, what else could you ask for? A chance to go start, a chance to lead an organization who's got a new head coach. They just released Tua, be the face of a franchise and say, hey, guys, come follow me. Let me put one foot in front of the other, show you what I can do, and this is an awesome opportunity for him.
Pete, if I come to you, there was a graphic there of other notable situations.
Not a lot of them have worked out.
Varying levels of success, and if we even went back farther than 2000, guys like Scott Mitchell, Rob Johnson. What type of risk is Miami undergoing here by bringing Malik Willis in?
First off, we don't know the structure of the contract, and Logan hit on it. It might just be a one-year deal when you look at the way the contract is structured, or 2-year at most, and so it is probably a prove-it deal for him. But if I would have told you a year ago that Malik Willis was going to get a contract that was about $24 million average per year, you would have told me I was nuts. And here's the other part of the equation. Is he actually a better quarterback than Tua? I mean, take the money out of the equation, what they paid him, because that contract is really an albatross around him. Is he a better quarterback than Tua was for the Miami Dolphins?
Is Tua capable of being healthy long enough to be the quarterback that you're referring to? Malik Willis has shown us that he has the ability to go win football games.
Because of 35 passes a year ago that he threw.
He's healthy. His interceptions are less than Tua.
But he's thrown 35 passes a year ago, and then we're paying him $24 million.
There's a void in football in Miami right now, okay? New coach, new regime. They had an interim GM over the offseason, Champ Kelly. These fans are like, okay, thanks for ripping that Band-Aid off. Now what? Give him something. It's going to be a party in Miami, and Malik Willis is going to be at the center of it.
See, I think he's right about the deal. We'll see it with the structure. It's got to be a prove-it deal, because they could have easily played with Quinn Ewers and tanked and gone into next year's draft and had a bunch of guys that are going to be really good quarterbacks in next year's draft. And we say that every year, but I really believe that for next year there will be a lot of good guys. They could have tanked, and this isn't tanking. This is giving him a substantial paycheck to go be your quarterback.
Let's bring JJ back into the fold, who's been listening into our conversation. JJ, what do you want to say here?
Yeah, Kyle makes a great point about the health of Tua. There's also the entire point about the years that Tua has been there, the reputational hit that he has suffered, that a lot of that has been his own doing, right? And so there's the money aspect, and if all things are equal, then yes, if you're going to pay almost $100 million to this guy, you may as well keep him around. They couldn't keep him around. It was time for a clean slate. He needed out, and so that's that. There's also the fact, Pete, I think it's interesting, we're talking about Malik Willis, and yes, he did not do a whole lot this past year, right? What he did was nice, but he didn't do a whole lot. But then we're going to spend the next 6 weeks talking about the draft, which is an entire projection. That is what this contract is. Logan is absolutely right. It's not truly a 3-year deal. It probably is a 2-year deal that's $40 million. That's probably what it ultimately is. And if it's so terrible, the Dolphins can ultimately get out of it after 2026 with a pain point. But it's probably truly a 2-year deal once we get the final numbers. Lastly, since we're talking about quarterbacks, the Tennessee Titans, I can report, signing Mitchell Trubisky, obviously the former #2 overall pick, with Kyle Long and the Chicago Bears, goes to the Buffalo Bills, has been backing up Josh Allen the last couple of years. Now he heads to Tennessee, where he'll be backing up Cam Ward. And let's remember, of course, they have Will Levis on the roster still. Wouldn't at all be surprised if Will Levis winds up getting dealt before late April's draft.
All right, JJ, certainly appreciate that. We're also hearing, of course.
Well, then he'll be at $25 million next year. Look, I was a critic of Malik Willis coming out. I didn't think he was capable of being a quarterback who could go into the pocket and stand back there and make the throws and go through the reads. He's improved. I'm going to give him all his flowers because he has definitely improved throwing the football. I still think, to your point, you got to build an offense around his ability to run. He's dynamic with the ball underneath his arm, and so why not build it and cater it to his ability to run?
He'll have an opportunity to do that and showcase what he can do as a full-time starter, if indeed he is to win that battle. By the way, we're also hearing Falcons would be interested in the services of Tua Tagovailoa, and that could be a landing spot for him. JJ also mentioned Isiah Likely here. Kyle, what are we thinking of the New York Giants for the now former Baltimore tight
I
end?
don't know about you guys. I like to play Madden, and this New York Giants roster is starting to look like one of those teams that I might have to tell my buddy, you can't play with the Giants, okay? There's just too many weapons there, especially if Neighbors is healthy. You've seen some of the things Likely can do. Love Jackson Dart. Nagy's got to get through to his young quarterback. Stay off the ground. Scatterboo. Nice. I'd love to see another running back there. And then you've got that complete offense. Young offensive lineman developing. Likely just a great compliment, I think. And with Harbaugh there, no-brainer.
With a young quarterback as well, third down, security blanket, go get yourself a tight end, a guy who's familiar with the head coach, John Harbaugh, who was just in Baltimore. For Jackson Dart, sweet, you got to love this. This is a big weapon, vertical down the field threat that they didn't have last year.
And we talk about systems, right? The Giants have to learn a new offensive system. The tight end's kind of the guy that's why everyone loves tight ends. They hang out with the O-line, they know the blocking scheme, and they know the passing scheme. You know all the young weapons they have, the running back, the wide receiver, the quarterback. Well, they all got to learn the system together. Why not get a great tight end, a good tight end that's been in the system, right? And he's going to have a bigger opportunity now with Mark Andrews to be the guy. And I like Likely. When he gets his chances, he made the most of them. He made some big plays and some big games for them. Now he gets the chance to be the star tight end in Harbaugh's system.
I want to see what they do on the offensive line. They need to bring Illuminor back at right tackle. He played really well for him at right tackle. He's an unrestricted free agent. It'll be interesting to see what they do. If they don't have that right tackle position solidified, it's going to cost them, but you got to solidify that right tackle spot.
Unless they can find it in the draft. Things have been happening so fast, of course. Let's revisit the Michael Pittman trade to the Steelers here. We're learning some of the details, and Ben, I'm going to give you first word. 3 years, $59 million for him and for a team, which we were talking about last year a lot. Get Jacoby Myers, get another weapon for DK Metcalf. Now they seemingly have that with Michael Pittman there out in Pittsburgh.
For Mike McCarthy, who is the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, this screams Jordy Nelson to me. Who did he have all those years in Green Bay? I know Rodgers isn't there. This feels like Rodgers might have a little bit of a say in kind of, hey, what's going on here? Who do I like? Who do I not like? But Michael Pittman Jr., the production is there. The playmaking ability is there. He's your big physical wide receiver, so I'd like this move for the Steelers.
Well, this is what happens when they had Pickens and DK Metcalf. And I'm not saying personality is the same. I'm saying he's your big physical wide receiver. What is DK Metcalf?
Same thing.
The same exact thing. So is DK Metcalf going to be there? Can they move on from him? Because it just doesn't make sense. When they traded for Pickens last year, I said, how do Pickens and DK Metcalf work together? I don't know how Pittman and Metcalf work together because they literally play the same exact position with the same exact attributes. So I don't know what position he plays on that offense. I don't know what it means for DK Metcalf, but it's probably not good.
Here's one thing I do know about Aaron Rodgers and what he appreciates more than anything else: trust. And if he doesn't trust you, he wants you out of his damn huddle. And I can tell you, he's watched this guy Michael Pittman play, and he said, I can trust this guy on third down, got to have it situations, man beaters, physical mismatches down the field. That's my guy. Now, he's had physical mismatches down the field. I think about guys like Alan Lazard, who had bricks for hands for that season in New York when Aaron Rodgers was trying to, re-ingratiate himself in the football god's graces. But it just didn't work out. Michael Pittman, you can trust. And I like what you said there. McCarthy, Rodgers, Pittman, Jordy Nelson. That name gives me a little bit,
some goosebumps. Oh.
All you got to do is go back to watch last year's games and last year's tape, and you could see Rodgers complaining over and over again about where the wide receiver.
Get him out of here!
It was crazy. Every play he's complaining about somebody being in the wrong spot, and that's why Pittman gives him some reliability, and it makes sense. This screams he's coming back to play, by the way. It really does. He's coming back.
So this is a locked Aaron Rodgers coming back to play.
I think he's playing.
That's not a guarantee yet.
No, I'm not guaranteeing it. There's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantee we're going to be here tomorrow afternoon either.
Uh-oh. Doomsday.
Producer in my ear, another move here. Logan, I'll give you first word. Kenneth Gainwell to the Bucks.
Ooh.
There you go. Okay, look.
They need weapons if Mike's getting out of there.
Well, Rashad White's out of there.
That was Rodgers' favorite weapon, so now Rodgers might not be coming back.
There you go. Look, you kind of got your the Bucks like a running back duo. They like a tandem, right? That's how they want to go about the position. Baker Mayfield is a centerpiece of that offense, but the running game is so important. Fresh set of legs there. He's a fast guy. In that fast weather in Tampa, I think it'll be a good fit.
Pete, I'll give you a final word on this.
He was the MVP of the Steelers last year. Think about that.
Yeah,
he was the
game
offensive MVP of the Steelers, and he had a great season for him. And Rashad White's out of there. Sean Tucker's out of there, so they need to get somebody, like you said, they like to have two backs. It makes sense. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I like the move. You have to see the money, but you like the player being there.
Okay, we're up against another break here, but want to remind you about CBS Sports HQ. Everything again.